Previously on the Real Estate Podcast.
You're in employment and you're comfortable in employment, and probably business is not for you. I would actually recommend for you to go for these investment portfolios like the unit trust, the bonds, because ultimately you're working, but you're also passively gaining something.
Do you consider when you are undertaking a project, do you consider, like you're indicating, you actually get advice from different professions or different experts, being architects, quantity surveyors, engineers, real estate brokers like us, property managers and all on the table? Because I see a lot of investors or landlords make a lot of mistakes in that they build a house that will appeal to them. Sure. You know, you'd find that no, what is on the market right now, everybody's looking for something that has got possibly an office or that has got gym, because we're just coming from COVID. So everybody wanted at least to work from home. And even as they are working from home, they can still keep fit, you know. And then also, because you host quite a number of people, they're actually infusing a guest bathroom. Or a powder room, as it were. So, what's a place of actually involving experts to come on the table? I know maybe you can bring in the cost factor, because definitely for them to come on board, is it worth it?
Okay, yeah, I'll make mention to say it's actually very, very important that you bring all stakeholders on board, because first the design, the architectural design is very important to say this is what you want to do or this is what you're actually planning. But to your point, people like the real estate brokers, I think those are very critical, because they'll be able to give you guidance to say, okay, this is what's actually on demand from the market perspective. You bring in different architecture designers to say, okay, is this something that is feasible, looking at probably the location, even engineers. I'll give an example of probably some property that we had, which had more like, it was a waterlogged area.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, a waterlogged area. And I think the engineers, I think those should have been engineers, right? Architectures actually helped us to be able to assess, to say, okay, for this kind of place, because it's actually, when that probably land was procured, I think we did not really look into some of those factors to say, is this land viable? We thought we could just start building. Yes, but we realized to say it's a waterlogged area, and water actually comes and logs like a pool there. Yes, so I think those are some of the things that probably we didn't consider, but then at the time that we wanted to start building, all those guys were able to assess to say, okay, for this place we need to elevate it a bit, we need to do this, we need to ensure that we level the ground, and also the real estate brokers came in to say, okay, for this area, probably yes, you've got this in mind, but looking at the different probably amenities that are there, whether it's the hospitals, the schools, the universities, what would be perfect would be this, or maybe such a kind of an apartment might not fly because of the way where the location is and the way the structure is actually built. So those are some of the things that we actually get from our advisors. And it's very important because you actually put a very big house. And it's probably a high-end house in a location that probably might not fetch you much. And then you end up losing out, because ultimately maybe it would have been good for a boarding house or boarding houses. Or maybe it would have been good for maybe just two-bedroom apartments for probably targeting the young families that are actually there. So those are some of the things that we look at, and it helps us to be able to assess that.
Okay, in conclusion, I would want to ask this last question. What's a place of property management? Is it profitable to actually employ a property manager to manage your property?
Well, What I would say, I would answer it in two folds, but I'll still lean on one answer. If you have all the time,
Sure.
and if probably that's the profession that you're in,
Sure.
you can manage the properties on your own. But if you've got a big portfolio, I would recommend that you actually get somebody to help you manage, because there is quite a lot in property management. Real estate is not as passive as people think,
Sure.
because it actually employs you to be on the job. And
Sure.
I'll make mention to say, I think when I started, I really struggled, because you find there are tenants calling you on a daily basis. This is broken, or this is not working, the gate is not working,
Sure.
the lights are not switching on, or Zesco has switched off. So I was wondering, okay, how do I control Zesco? And sometimes that can be frustrating.
Sure.
And if you are really not well controlled, you might actually chase away your tenants, or you might not really be in good terms with them.
Sure.
So I think it's very important that you bring in somebody that can help you professionally manage some of those challenges and professionally manage the day-to-day activities that are actually required, because you might not be there, especially for those that are working. I think most of the times, I think we let down our tenants because there's no one probably there dedicated to help them, to support them in terms of the needs that they actually require. But if there's that person, you won't receive any call. I don't receive any calls.
Sure.
And that's the fortunate bit. Even when a tenant probably is not paying, it's not probably my job to go and now
Chase them out.
look for somebody to chase them out, or to actually probably, for me to just go and chase them out, or have those confrontationals with them. But I think the real estate agents or the real estate professionals manage that aspect very well, and they're able to take over that aspect and do it professionally.
Sure.
Yeah, because sometimes you may lose your temper,
Sure.
and it might not be very professional. But I love the professional aspect where they're able to speak to, because they're independent.
Sure.
They're able to manage the conversation independently, looking at probably the interests of the tenant, but also ensuring that they're looking out for the landlord.
Sure.
So I think that's my recommendation.
Okay. One quick tip for viewers. What investment tip can you give them?
Investment tip for the viewers. I would say start investing now if you have not yet started. And it's never too late, so you can start now. But when I say it's never too late, it doesn't mean that you can wait till whenever. I think there's a saying that says a tree planted sorry, I'm trying to read.
The best time to plant
No,
a
sure.
tree.
I think there's a saying that says the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, and the next best time is actually now. So the best time to start investing is 20 years ago,
Sure.
and the next best time is actually now. So please, please, please do start investing, whether you have a job, whether you're in entrepreneurship. I think it's just very important to be able to have a portfolio of passive income that will carry you on in the days when you do not have the strength to run around in terms of doing the day-to-day jobs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming through, Miss Gladys Daka. We've been chatting with Miss Gladys Daka, who is a banker by profession. She works for one of the big banks. So thank you very much. Please join us on the next podcast, even as we discuss more on the real estate and sales. Today, it was on investments. Thank you. I'm your host, Ngo Sankandi.